Welcome to Thank God You're Not My Child. Remember, it's a comedy podcast where I talk about whatever I want to. And just to let you know, this one could have some triggers because my brother did pass away, my younger brother, 2 years younger than me, and I'm going to tell some stories of him. Yeah, we only had a few when we were young. We wasn't raised together, but we hung out together with my real dad. And I want to share some really awesome stories of him. So hang on, buttercups. So just to make a long story short, my biological dad, which I knew and I had a relationship with, I did not have a real reason to love him like I did my stepdad because they got married when I was like 3, and that was like my dad that I was with all the time. But I had a biological dad that I loved, and I did throughout my younger years get to spend summers with him and stuff. Lots of good memories, and that's the ones I choose to remember, if you know what I mean. So my stepmom, her name is Janet, and it was always weird to have a stepmom that I didn't get to see very much, because I only got to see her in summer and never had any issues with her. Love her to death. I know she wasn't my mom's favorite person at that time because, there was some stuff going on because my biological dad had 3 different women over his lifetime that he was married to. And he had kids with all 3 different, and they might intertwine like a braid, but we're not going to really discuss that now. But my younger brother, Robbie, we were like the 2 middle kids out of everyone that stayed there in the summers. Middle girl, middle boy, we were the middle one, only 2 years apart. And we seemed to get teamed up doing a lot because we got along really well. And so the first time I remember meeting him, it was, my dad, Eddie, my real dad, his name was actually Teddy Edward. So Teddy, yes, my real dad's name's Teddy. Anyway, I remember they were coming for July 4th when I was around 10 in Krebs, and I remember playing basketball with all of them outside. And that was the first time I really remembered, man, I got some cool brothers, because he has a brother, Sonny, and then I have 2 younger siblings with them, Jennifer and Jonathan. And I did get to see them all this last weekend for a very sad reason, because my brother, Robbie, passed away way too young. He was only 52. And it really jarred me a lot because you never think life's going to be over. Okay, people? You never think it's going to happen to you. And it did. It did. And so I remember thinking over the last few years, the main reason this episode didn't come out yesterday was it's taken me a little while to edit. It's kind of personal, but losing a sibling is something I haven't done. It's the first one. There's 11 of us on me, because I have 1 sibling with my mom that all of the others know because they were raised with him too, but I have 11. I only have 10 on this side of heaven now. But I remember taking trips from McAlester, Oklahoma, or even in Texas someplace, because it was around like Granbury, Texas or something. I remember taking in a camper and station wagons because we did it a few times. I remember taking trips with Robbie and Sonny and everyone. And we would be in the back of the trailer because you only one person got to sit up front. So they kind of rotated it. Because when you got that many kids, they were pretty good at going one person. And if you were causing problems, you were definitely setting up front. So yeah, I might have set up front a little bit. What I remember about setting up front, I'm going to tell you, the time I got in trouble and had to set up between my stepmom and my dad, I remember listening to John Mellencamp. What's that song he says? Jackie and Johnny or whatever. I remember listening to that song. That was my first song I remember listening to music-wise. So yeah, but I remember those trips. And I also remember my first drink of alcohol whiskey was with Robbie. I don't know if he told anybody, but I remember. And man, I might have been a wuss break then, because I think he took it back. And I was like, oh, you know, uh, but I think I could probably have held him now. I'm just saying. Um, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think I could have drank more than him. I probably could have. I know I have more substance to me than he had on the booty, that is. But I remember my first drink of whiskey was with him. And I also remember doing chores with him because there was 6 of us in the house on summer when we were in California. We stayed summers with him. And everybody has to do chores. You can't have that many kids in a house without doing chores. It never felt that we always got the bathrooms, well, all the bathrooms. And so I remember that he always would say he'd clean the tub. And I remember it was because he'd put the wash towels down in there with all the soap, and he'd get in there with the swim trunks and just giggle and laugh and clean that tub. I remember that. I'm sorry, but if you need to clean your tub, do it, people. I don't care if you're 54 years old like me. If you need to clean your tub, put a couple of wash towels in there and some cleaners and get in there with your swimsuit on and clean that tub. We tend to made it fun, And, we used to have, one summer we had a swimming pool because my dad would rent houses for the summer to fit all of us. And so, because 8 people was a lot to fit into a house. And one year he got this pool. And I remember, in California, it was, I'm thinking Sacramento. That's what I'm thinking. But, don't hold me against that. But you would get frogs and snakes and things in your pool because there was still woods around, at that time, because I'm old as fuck. So I remember that it was Robbie's or my job. It was always our job to get in there and get whatever was in because it didn't scare us. And so I don't think I didn't go in there a few times and get a frog and chase that little sister around. Her name was Pamela. I might have been mean to Pamela. Nah, I wasn't mean. Nope. But then, life goes on and you get your own life. And I got to watch him. He met his wife. I knew he'd met Beth. Heard good things about her. Got to see them, and then Facebook started, so I got to see pictures of their kids growing up, and felt like I was closer just because, every once in a while you could talk to someone. But I didn't realize until they went on a cruise with us, and my cousins and all, they were really close with my cousin, Lydia and Mark, and they spent a lot of time with them, so they got them to go on the cruise, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't seen him since probably my dad, Teddy, passed away. So it was so sweet. We only got to see him, I think, on 2 cruises. They went on many on their own. But it was so good to see him and finally talk to him. And I just felt like, I'm 3 hours from him now. And maybe, when he has that cookout, I could come, get more involved because I don't have the daycare. And, I'm not as stuck as I was before. But you know what, people? Life changes at the blink of an eye. So those times that I thought in the last year that I'd have more time to go down and see him, you know what? I pushed it off. And do you know what happens when you push something off? You might lose that ability. So the bottom line is, go see that person you want to see. It doesn't matter if it's your brother, if it's your sister, your dad, your best friend. Just go see them. Just talk to them. You don't have to do something. Eat a sandwich with them. Drink a beer with them. Talk about memories with them. I would have loved to talk to him about getting those frogs out of that pool and chasing Pamela because we would have laughed so hard. We'd have peed in our pants. Okay, so anyway, Robbie, this is the only thing I think I can do for you. Is just tell you I love you. I should have done more to see you. And I'm going to do what I can to help take care of your wife. Okay? We got her until she's with you. I love you, brother. We're going to move on from that. Yeah, now I did tell you it was a trigger warning. So just remember that, okay? Just between us, here it is. This thing called life sucks sometimes. And we all know that. Remember, The last day, I had to remember to look at the good stuff in life. You know, this episode didn't come out yesterday because it was so hard editing, because life can be so rough sometimes. But you know what? I choose to look at the positive stuff. You know, leaving people on earth after you pass away that love you and miss you, this is a positive thing. Not for us, but for him, knowing that he left so many amazing people that loved him. So let's go on. Just between us. Now I want to go on to something a little funnier. And it is about my older sister. Okay, so let's just understand. I have my oldest brother out of my real dad is, I don't get to see him much. I did get to see him this last weekend. It was sweet. But my sister I was with the Listen, Linda. You know that one? Something happened this weekend that brought back a lot of memories from when I was growing up. Because that sister of mine, Linda, has always been so good at just taking charge. She was when we were little. We got to clean the house. We got to cook dinner. You need to get the laundry done. You know, it was almost like she filled that mom spot if mom was busy. And, you know, that's what older siblings do. So it wasn't a shock. Of course, we used to, when I was young, fight like, dude, MMA style. Ask her. I remember hitting her, falling in the closet. I don't know if she ever really hit me back. She more pulled my hair and stuff, but don't think I wasn't hitting her. So we were kids. We were siblings. But this last weekend, she reminded me just how awesome she is. We're at the Celebration of Life where I'm just sitting by my youngest sister, Jennifer, drinking a Bud Light, enjoying watching all of these people talk about my brother and how many people loved him. And I was like, oh, please, Lord, whenever I go to you, I just pray that many people love me. So it was so good. But then, you know, all of us siblings that were there just kind of like started. But then Linda, as in her awesomeness self, raised up and said, this is what we're going to do. And it was so interesting to hear her say, this is what we're going to do. And everybody stopped and looked at her. I did, all the siblings did, because you know what? We know Linda listen, Linda, she gonna take care of shit. Linda gonna take care of shit. And we ain't got to worry about it. If Linda says, this is what we're going to do, just do it. You know? Now, when I was younger, I was going to tell her, oh, hell no. I was going to fight her every way because I think that's what siblings do. But now that I'm older, damn, don't tell her, because she don't listen to this podcast. Don't tell Linda I think she's just freaking smart. But I do. So now whenever I hear, listen, Linda, it's not that little brat kid that I would have eaten all of those cupcakes for dinner in front of him. I'd have probably gotten diabetic that night. My sugars would have been so high, because as soon as he started, we're just going to drop that. Go back and listen to that episode. Listen, Linda. You know what I mean? It might have been the first episode. Might have been the second. It was right around there. It's a good place to start, people. So yeah, that's a good place to start, just saying. So going through something like Celebration of Life for your brother, and to see your older sister just branch out and say, this is what we need to do. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful to see that. It was so beautiful to see the people that loved my brother. It was so beautiful to see his kids and grandkids running around. And you know, Linda, I just need you to know, you're rocking it on here. I know you won't ever listen to this, but listen, Linda, you're an awesome person. I know that. And thank you for all you do. And my little sister-in-law is going to need a little help, people. Because all of a sudden, she is too young to be fucking alone. So now it's our job, because it's our job as family. It's our job as family to take care of her. I haven't got to hang out with her much, but she did mention yesterday on Facebook that a little kitty showed up and she may have to keep it. You know what, Beth? Keep that damn cat. You know what? If you need food for it, I'll send it to you. You know? It's our job, guys. There's a good possibility I have told you everything I know. Probably things I don't really know. Does that make sense? Okay. I know this whole episode kind of seemed kind of down, but that's where I'm at. And that's what this podcast is about. I talk about what the fuck I want to. And this week it was about my brother and how awesome my older sister is. And really all of my siblings are awesome on their own, but all of us have our own shit. And obviously, Linda, she got some managing skills. You know what I mean? That bitch got some managing skills. She's a badass bitch. And my brother, everybody loved him. So you know what? He was a good guy too. I just pray I'm just as good a person as my brother and sister are. So until next time, thank God you're not my child.